You trust the label. You have to. You can't test everything you swallow, so you trust that someone did. 100 years ago, people trusted a label too, and the label said radioactive. Not as a warning, as a selling point. In the 1920s, radium wasn't scary. It was magic. It glowed in the dark on its own, with no battery, no flame, a soft green light that seemed to come from nowhere. To a world that had just discovered it, that glow looked like pure, bottled life. So they put it in everything: toothpaste, face cream, chocolate, and water. This is the story of the water, and the man who drank it until his jaw fell off. Here's the pitch. A tonic called Radithor. One small bottle of distilled water with real radium dissolved inside. Marketed as Perpetual Sunshine. A cure for tiredness, for aches, for a fading sex drive, for whatever a wealthy customer felt was slipping. The man selling it called himself a doctor. He wasn't. William Bailey was a Harvard dropout who never earned a medical degree and paid real physicians a kickback for every patient they steered his way. But the radium in the bottle was real. That was the terrible part. This wasn't watered-down snake oil. Each dose was exactly as radioactive as it promised to be. Now meet the customer. Eben Byers. Rich, charming, a champion amateur golfer who once won a national title. The kind of man who had everything and expected to keep it. In 1927, he fell from a train berth and hurt his arm. The pain lingered. A doctor handed him Radithor, and Eben felt incredible. That's the trap, right there. Radiation in small doses over a short time can genuinely give a brief jolt of feeling energized. So Eben didn't drink one bottle. He drank it like a religion. 2, 3 bottles a day. He handed it out to friends. He gave it to his racehorses. By the time he stopped, he'd swallowed nearly 1,400 bottles. Here's what that radium was actually doing. Your body can't tell radium apart from calcium. They look almost identical, chemically. And where does your body send calcium? Into your bones. So every bottle Eben drank, his skeleton filed the radium away for safekeeping. Locked it into his jaw, his skull, his spine. And radium doesn't sit quietly. It fires radiation outward, every second, for the rest of its existence. Now embedded inside the one place it could do the most damage. He was being irradiated from the inside out, by his own bones. The energy he'd felt was the fuse. This was the bomb. It started as a toothache. Then his teeth began falling out, and the holes where they'd been refused to heal. Doctors removed his whole upper jaw, then most of his lower jaw. Abscesses opened in his skull. His bones were, in the plainest possible terms, disintegrating while he was still alive to feel it. By the end, this national sports champion weighed almost nothing, couldn't speak properly, and was riddled with holes you could see on an X-ray. He died in 1932. Radium poisoning. He was 51. And this is where it stops being one man's tragedy and becomes everyone's warning. Because a government investigator went to interview Eben near the end and came back shaken. His report is the reason the rules changed. Until then, the men selling tonics answered to almost no one. There was no requirement to prove a medicine was safe, or even that it did anything at all. Eben Byers, dying in a mansion, is the case that helped give American regulators the teeth to say, prove it before you sell it. Decades later, a Wall Street Journal reporter summed up the whole saga in one unforgettable line. The radium water worked fine until his jaw came off. They buried Eben in a coffin lined with lead, not to protect him, to protect everyone else from him. His body was too radioactive to bury like a normal man. And here's the part that should reach across 100 years and touch you. When they dug him up in 1965 to study what radium does to a person, his bones were still radioactive, still glowing in the way that matters. They will keep glowing for over 1,000 years. Somewhere in a collection right now, there are unopened bottles of Radithor. And they are still, this very second, as deadly as the day they were sold. So it's easy to laugh at the past, to think, how could anyone drink glowing water? But they weren't stupid. They had a trusted label, an authority in a white coat, and a product that genuinely made them feel something. That's the same recipe used to sell you things today. The words on the bottle have changed. The trust it asks for hasn't. You trust the label. You have to. Just remember the man who trusted his. All 1,400 bottles of it.